Yeah, it's a great little circuit. There you go. Look at turn one and turn 2. Go straight across 1, and you'll see a lot of guys going there on the first lap. And personally, I think they should have, with a massive field like this, they should have the start. You see where number 6 is, that's the back straight. If they had to start there, it'd give everybody a bit of chance to sort themselves out before they got to the S's down at 7 and 8. But it's a great little track, and the guy that owns it, looks after it. The club do a fantastic job.
This section of the circuit where they're coming through now, they are lined up back to there. There are so many cars here, 33. Let's have a look at how they line up. For the 3rd time this year, Scafie starts from pole. Mark Scaife in the Mobil 1 HRT Commodore alongside John Bowe. Just 2 1/1000ths of a second difference. Craig Lowndes and Jason Bright make up the 2nd row.
3rd row looks like this. Russell Ingall, our championship leader, with Glenn Seton and the Ford Credit Racing Ford alongside him. Dick Johnson, good effort that in qualifying, and Larry Perkins in position 8.
Back to position 9, another great effort by young Stephen Johnson in the Racing for Life Falcon. Mark Larkham in 10, Jason Bargwanna a little frustrated in qualifying, and Neil Crompton makes his return, he's in 12.
Good to see Crompton back too. Just check on the right of your screen too, those icons. There's the car number, in Tony Longhurst's case 25, the F denotes Ford, and obviously in a Holden it's the red H, and the Y, V and D denotes Yokohama, Bridgestone and Dunlop. So that gives you an idea of what the car packages are as you look through the grid.
All right, we're getting set. This should be a ripper. There's been much talk about whether there will be carnage here on this tight, tricky Mallala circuit. Dick Johnson is ready. A quick drink before he gets stuck into this one.
Lee, I have to say, the first corner here, if everybody gets through that unscathed, it'd be a miracle.
Well, we saw plenty of action at the previous round at Winton, didn't we? John Bowe, he's got a lot riding on today. Won the last round at Winton, and he is really pumped up. Round 6 of 10 in this year's Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Will it be Bowe or will it be Scaife? Away we go.
Oh,
who's got off the best? Bowe. John Bowe on the inside, got away with a brilliant start. And Russell Ingall pushes up the inside. Have a look at this. Bowe holds steady. Now Scaife tries to come back. Ingall, what a ripper of a start.
Yeah, you can see Russell pushing for position there. He didn't want to get left high and dry on the inside. He was just muscling the back of Bowe's Ford as he found his position. Mark Scaife, pole man, left behind. He's back in 3rd or 4th position. He'll be kicking himself about that because that pole position, he said, was very valuable to him.
Yeah, Scaife was just sitting still. I looked out the window, he was just sitting on the line with maximum wheel spin. But Russell Ingall, oh, the brave man.
Both Mobil HRT cars there coming out of the southern hairpin. It looked like one of the Shell cars. Dick Johnson ducking up the inside. Tricky conditions. The sun's out, but the track is still wet.
Oh, look at this. Whoa, here we go.
Rod Nash, Steve Ellery, Terry Finnegan.
Oh, look at this. Wayne Russell and
Rod Nash.
Yeah, caught up in that as well. Privateers getting a bit at the back of the front, side by side as they come down through the northern hairpin for the first time. Big field. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Dean Crosswell too. He's getting muscled by Alan Jones. Romano in there as well. Boy, it's tight. And you can see the damage there to Terry Finnegan's Sony Commodore.
The difficult thing here, where there's been races before, you've got a bit of, oh, look at this going on the back.
Oh, look, they're all leaning on each other. The track's very, very slippery. Look at that sliding around. Terry Finnegan trying to get back, but he's got some severe damage to the car there. Smoke belching from it.
The problem is, Mark, what they're doing where there's been races before, there's a bit of a dry line, and the guys are wandering off the dry line. Look at JD.
Look at these two guys. They've just streaked away. Now DJ is giving Scaife a hard time. Dick Johnson has passed Lowndes. Now he's working on our pole sitter, who is now back in 3rd, Mark Scaife. The 2 out in front have gone. Bowe and Ingall have bolted. This is where the action is here for the miners, and he's through.
Yeah, well, this is, whoa, gets a big sideways Dick. But this is very typical we see in these conditions. When the sun comes out, the track's just a little bit greasy. The Dunlop slicks seem to work particularly well in this condition. Look how close the Holden Racing Team Mobil Commodore gets on Shell Helix onboard camera. You're riding with Dick Johnson, and you can see the amount of wheel spin behind there as Larry Perkins now tries to move in on the action.
The difficult thing is here, when you're trying to make a pass, you know, you're going to use as little as track as you can. You see the dry patches there, and sometimes you get pushed out on the damp stuff. It's just absolute calm.
Coming up into the action is Stephen Johnson in the Racing for Life Ford. He's not too far behind. Also on Dunlops. Think back to Wanneroo at the Barbagallo circuit last year, where it was different conditions, wet, drying, and Bowe was just out of control. He was so quick.
Big challenge around the outside by Larry Perkins, looks like, on the Holden Racing Team Commodores. Just up behind Dick Johnson, and Larry's got through too. You'll see them come into view. There he is. He's just got in front of the Holden Racing Team combination, so they're struggling a little bit in these slippery conditions. So the order at the moment is Bowe from Ingall, Scaife. Well, we just saw Johnson go past Scaife. Lowndes in there too. So tremendous battle. You can see them trying to find traction in these opening laps. The track just starting to dry out a little bit. but they've been really on ice skate.
Have a look at this, a great battle here between the two Mobil 1 HRT cars. Lowndes and Skate fighting it out, and Stevie Johnson right in behind. Now watch Stephen look for an inside line here. These two guys will run a very defensive line down into the southern hairpin to try and hold Stephen back. Will he be able to get through? Qualified 9th, he's running extremely well at the moment.
A little bit of a tap there.
Craig Lowndes leaning on his teammate. He's got Stephen Johnson applying plenty of pressure behind too. So tremendous battles up and down through the field.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find Lowndesy running shotgun for Scafie, you know, because he's going to be looking after keeping Steve Johnson.
Well, keep in mind, Steve Johnson has never raced here at Mallala, and look at who's behind Stephen Johnson. That is Dean Croswell in his debut drive, a privateer in the Trustbank Ericsson Commodore. That is just fantastic. He is well up inside the top 10, sitting in 8th position. Coming up the back section, we're watching the two Mobil 1 HRT cars. Mark Scaife 50, Craig Lowndes 15. Scaife was on pole, he's drifted wide.
Scafie wide.
So Scaife drifted wide there. Lowndes has been able to get through under brakes, and Stephen Johnson will now move up one position better as he continually hassles Craig Lowndes.
That's what I was saying, where you run out on the damp and you just lock up one wheel and you have no option but to go straight on.
So John Bowe continues to lead, just 0.6 of a second over Russell Ingall, his best shoer. Stephen Johnson trying around the outside of Craig Lowndes. This is the battle for 5th and 6th position. So the order: Bowe, Ingall, Johnson up there in 3rd. Great effort from Dick, Larry Perkins, Craig Lowndes, Stephen Johnson, Mark Scaife slipping back, Dean Croswell. He's one of the 2 cars starting on a large block pattern wet weather tyre. Whether that's going to fall into his hands as this race progresses, we're not sure. The weather's so changeable at Mallala here today.
23-year-old Steve Johnson was wrapped with his qualifying effort to get up there in 9th. He said he could have done better. He had some brake problems, so he's really enjoying. In fact, he has done so well since joining this. He's had 6 starts, and 3 of them he's finished in the top 10, so he is really enjoying his time in V8s.
Well, Mark Scaife, a very important weekend this for the number 50 Mobil 1 Commodore driver. He got pole position, was very thrilled about that. Had a tremendous amount of speed he showed in qualifying. Was going to happen to build on that.
Yeah, I tell you, someone who isn't enjoying themselves is Seton, his way to 9th place.
Back to our leaders, John Bowe in 18 and Russell Ingall sitting there in 2nd spot. Now, this is a pretty significant moment, Marco, because John Bowe has never won a single race here at Mallala.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good circuit, and you'd think 3 weeks ago at Winton, it's never been a good track for the Shell team, but John came up trumps there, so maybe the fortune's beginning to turn for the Shell Helix team. John Bowe riding with the 1995 Australian Touring Car Champion, Dunlop onboard camera. You can see level of concentration on John's face there as he shifts up through the gears along the back sweeper, just holding it in 5th gear. Doesn't get in the top gear there, about 235 kilometres an hour, shifting back with this very tight hairpin. Let's have a look at where they are positioned on the track. There's Ingall sneaking through. Teammate Dick Johnson, he's sitting about 6.5 seconds behind that leading battle.
DJ's lapping the quickest at the moment.
Larry Perkins in there. And we've got Craig Lowndes feeling the pressure from Stephen Johnson. Terrific effort in the Racing for Life Falcon. There's Mark Scaife. And here's Dean Croswell. Now keep in mind, he's one of only 2 drivers, both himself and Rod Nash were the 2 that went out on a large block pattern wet weather tyre, hoping that the conditions would continue to change and maybe a little bit more rain, but the sun's come out here at Mallala, so that's going to be working against them at the moment.
And when you say it's only 5 laps out of 17, you'd have to say it was a bad move. Okay, it's got him up the front, it's got everybody to mention him, but for sure, give it another couple of laps and you're going to see it's going to be wobbling all over the show.
Mark Larkham a long way back. Whether Larkham's run into problems or not, there's Mal Rose as well in the Fairfax Community Classifieds car, just behind Anthony Tratt. These guys are running quite a way down the pack outside the top 20. In fact, 23rd and 24th, that's what this battle is for. So the field very spread out after a pretty congested start.
Oh, round and round we go.
Paul Wheel, the K&J radiators forward. At the moment, it is all John Bowe in the number 18 Shell Helix Falcon. The best he has ever done here is 2nd. As we ride now with our privateer camera today and privateer car, Mal Rose, who finished on top of the privateer ranks at Winton the previous round.
John Bowe turned the old wick up now, 113.96. He's the only guy in the 113 bracket.
I think Mal may have driven through a checkered flag at some stage. One of the most spectacular looking racing outfits you'll see. But he really does look after the appearance of the car. He does present a very good operation considering the minimum amount of money that he runs on.
He was pumped after Winton too, wasn't he? Winning top privateer. Long way to go in this one though. Lap 6 of 17. Lots of time left to run. so it's not in the bag yet for John Bowe.
So Bowe, 1.4 seconds now, the gap over Russell Ingall. Dick Johnson sitting back 6.5 seconds behind those two, so positions remaining fairly static. But here's our race leader, John Bowe. Wasn't overly happy with his performance in qualifying, so he didn't get the best out of the tyres. But you can see the consistency now coming into the performance of this Shell 1814 1998. John working very closely with his car engineer Lee Geyer, and they really have developed a great understanding of how to get the most out of the car.
He's the man of the moment, Russell Ingall, 4 points lead in this year's Shell Australian Touring Car Championship as they round up Darcy Russell, heading up to the top side of the circuit into Bridgestone corner. And at the moment, things aren't happening for Bridgestone. It's a Dunlop affair out in front. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, in fact, as well.
When you see how the performances vary so much, we've had wet and dry weather here. You'd have to say the Bridgestone's the one that's really been suffering. And to bring on a control tyre would be the best thing for this sport, without any shadow of a doubt, because that way it's a level playing field for everybody. Okay, they lose a couple of sponsors, but benefit it.
You're riding with Russell Ingall as he tries to close the gap on John Bowe. Let's have a listen to the Castrol Commodore.
Up the back straight, you can see the telemetry working there, courtesy of Triple M. Speed on the right, revs on the right, speed on the left. You can see that dry line now, that shot up the back straight.
Exactly, and if you just wander off of that, it's the most frightening thing. It looks like looking on thin ice.
Well, Russell Ingall, 1:11.6, so the time's starting to come down. Keep in mind they were qualifying.
Oh, Stephen Johnson! Oh, what a shame. Oh, backer.
Oh, he just caught it.
T-Bone City.
Now is that is Scaife?
That's Scaife, isn't it?
It looks like it's...
Yeah, Mark Scaife. Boy. Talk about bad luck. In 1998, it says to follow him around. A shadow almost.
These are our top two, ripping through the first 2 turns. It was interesting last year, it was these guys in this very order actually battling, but it was for the minor placings, 4th and 5th last year. And this round at Mallala was pretty much a turning point for Russell Ingall, because he was really in the hunt, and although he was still in the hunt at the final round, he got 2 fifths and then spun in the last race, and that really hurt his championship chances last year.
Well, look at the gap closing too.
Yeah, he's really got the hammer down now.
0.7 of a second. They're just wobbling around that point, half a second. Sometimes it pumps out to 7/10.
Someone's trying to rush up the inside of you, you know, protect your line, and then you run onto the dam, so keep your eyes open for that.
Well, he's just relentless, isn't he? John Bowe got the whole shot, and he's been holding him out the whole way. Russell Ingall really applying the thumb screws here. He was all over the back of him as they came out of the southern hairpin, that time down the back straight. So John Bowe, exactly a repeat of what we saw at Winton 3 weeks ago. Maximum pressure driving, these two locked in the tightest of battles, and he takes one little mistake and the other guy will be through. John Bowe, be aware of that as he rounds up the outside of Charles Ryman's car. Synchrone Proto onboard camera, riding with our championship leader Russell Ingall. And this one's going to go right down to the wire.
Russell's very quick in this section, picks up pretty well under brakes here. This is the southern hairpin now. They get wound up for this really long Shell sweeper. It's kind of the back straight, but it sweeps around nicely. Now let's have a look at the gap here. Bowe's holding his own. It was a lot closer the previous lap. Russell Ingall working away. He's got time on his side though, 11 of 17. Plenty of time left.
He's good on the brakes there, making an enormous amount. I think you'll find that Russell, you can lay your money on the fact he's going to have a go.
Dunlop will be very impressed with this performance. They're running the same tyre, the 359 they used at Winton, and was so successful there where these two guys finished 1-2 on the podium. Keep in mind you can check all the results of the V8 Supercar War on the website. There's the web address in the lower left of your screen. And you can be right up to date with what's going on the track.
Now this is where it's going to get interesting, because they're starting to come up as Russell has a look up the inside through Scotcher Curve, can't quite get there. They're coming up on some of the privateers, some of the back markers, so this will be interesting to see if John Bowe can get a quick passage through, perhaps use one of those guys to his advantage to shake Russell Ingall off his tail. Although this guy now lives in Melbourne, he spent a lot of time and grew up in Adelaide, so he considers this is his home track, not his home track, but his home race, if you wish. He's got a lot of fans and a lot of supporters here in Adelaide. Would love to win this first race today.
Well, it's a two-car war, isn't it? They've opened it up 7 seconds, the gap back to Dick Johnson in 30s. Everybody lonely right up there as they come up. Lap traffic, Melrose in in the Fairfax Community Classifieds car. He gives some racing room. Russell Ingall sneaks down the inside. He's got Shell Helix all over the front of his car. And he's looking for the slightest error from John Bower. Headlights ablaze. Maximum pressure driving from our two championship contenders.
Big mover in the pack has been Alan Jones. A great effort by him. He qualified 15th. He is up into 10th. And even bigger than that is John Faulkner, who qualified 17th and is in 9th. Well done, Faulkner.
So Ingall just feints a little to the right.
Crosswell's choice of tyres didn't do him much good. That is now he's down in the 19th place.
Anthony Track just ran off the road there too. You can see him in the background. Ingall getting very, very close as they come out of Scotcher Complex this time. Heading down toward the southern hairpin. He's trying to set John Bow up, but John equal to the task. Very tough customer when you get into this sort of hand-to-hand combat. Bow now hits into the traffic.
Look at this lot.
John Briggs in the Super Cheap Autos Commodore. Crosswell gives them racing room. The two of them pick their way through, heading up towards Shell Curve once again. 235 kilometres an hour as he tries to find his way through the traffic. And we've got a replay here. Oh, he's in trouble. Crunch.
Garth Tander in the Gary Rogers Valvoline car. It's his first time in a V8 here at Mallala, only his third race meeting. He'll be disappointed that that's happened.
So the order, Bow and Ingall, this tremendous battle continues for the lead. 5.9 seconds to get back to Johnson. He's got Perkins, second or so behind him. Then it's Lowndes, Stephen Johnson, Glenn Seton moves up to 7th, Scaife in 8th, Faulkner in 9th, and Alan Jones at the Komatsu Ford, rounding out the top 10.
Now, something's happened to Neil Crompton as well. I think he might be in the pits. He's out with a misfire. The words just come through. He only completed 7 laps. So we're watching now. They're coming up on the back of Chris Merton. This is getting interesting now. Faulkner and Jones still 9th and 10th, as you can see on screen. But this action, this battle for the lead between these two guys who are so consistent. If you count the Australian Grand Prix support races for the V8 Supercars, Russell Ingall's last 13 starts, he has not finished off the podium. He has been on the podium every single time. And that is so consistent, and that's why he leads this championship. Obviously, the AGP support races don't contribute to the Shell Australian Touring Car Championships point structure. But he has just been driving so well in 98, and this could give him a buffer here if he doesn't get through.
Yes. He
did get through. Wow, it looked like that back marker was going to make life difficult. Yeah. So Ingall still hangs in there with John Bow, trying desperately to get his first win. The best that Bow has done is second, and he finished there in 1996 in race 1 and 2, but has never won a race here at Mallala. Never won a round, obviously.
Well, John Bow and his efforts, they're really starting to turn the tables. Keep in mind, his victory at Winton was the first for Ford since the Lakeside round in 1997, so the Fords have really been out of the winner's circle for a long, long time. 3 laps remaining for our race leader, John Bow.
Yeah, Lowndes, he passed Perkins now.
So the Bridgestone's starting to come back on as the track dries out and perhaps warms up a little bit. So Larry is now back in 5th position. Steve Johnson 6th, Seton 7th, Scaife 8th, Faulkner. Bright is now 10th, so he's got past Alan Jones. Longhurst has worked up into 12th, and the Romano is 13th.
The best performance from Larry Perkins. Shell Australian Touring Car Championship is currently sitting 4th in the overall points chase. And Glenn Seton, our reigning champ boy. This has been one hell of a year. 1998, he's been having all sorts of problems. And talking to the engineers yesterday, the car was very quick in both untimed sessions in the morning, the fastest car in fact. But as soon as they put the new tyres on the car, they don't get that new tyre gain that you would expect. So something a bit mysterious going on.
Well, you'd have to say, you know, with the trouble that HRT were having at the beginning of the year, that it has to be the tyre situation, doesn't it? You know, Bridgestone obviously changed something, construction-wise or whatever, because whatever any of the guys change on the car, it doesn't seem to make any difference.
Well, Glenn was very happy with his qualifying position of number 6 after the previous 2 rounds, where he's just had a complete nightmare. So things perhaps changing for him as we watch Mark Scaife all over the back with a bit of battle damage on the front there when he came in contact with Steve Johnson. We're getting very close to the end.
Look at this.
Ingall turns up the heat again on John Bow, and time is running out. Lap 16 of 17.
John is just doing what he does so well, just driving that conservative line, not dodging or weaving, but just putting the car in a position that makes Ingall have to drive further. And that's going to make it harder and harder for him to pass. He just holds this position. Look at that, braking right down the middle of the road. He gives Ingall 2 options. Whoa! And he went in really deep. Let's see if he can come out in front. Wow! The back was just starting to come around a little bit. Bow got off the brakes and masterfully flicked that through the turn without losing position. I thought Ingall would have had him there.
And I'll tell you what, he's been able to walk away a little bit from Russell too. So
DJ's had an excursion and lost a couple of places.
How deep do you want to go on the brakes? Boy, oh boy.
nicely sideways, wasn't it?
There was a hard stopper for JB, but he remains in control. 1 lap remaining. He's got 2.6 kilometres of this Mallala Raceway to go, and he will take his first touring car victory at Mallala in a long and very glorious career. It's amazing how he's missed out on victory here, but if he can hold it together here, this will be number 1.
I'll tell you what, it's not over yet. We've got 3/4 of a lap left to run, and Russell Ingall isn't giving in. We know he's quick down this section past the pits. All that area behind there is pit lane. Comes past Wayne Russell on the inside. Now he's back within a car length of John Bowe. Both cars on Dunlop tyres.
The place to watch will be as they come down toward that northern hairpin. It's a very, very slow corner. They're coming from maximum speed, about 230 kilometres an hour, braking right down for a very, very slow right-hander. Bowe. Oh, look! That's what happened last time. Ingall this time tried to take advantage. Bowe. You cannot brake harder than that and risk spinning the car.
Now look at this. This is exactly the same as the previous lap. John Bowe puts the power down, gets the power down a lot more efficiently, or that's what it seems, and he just walks away from Russell there, and that one has got it for him. He has got it in the bag as he comes through the Shell S's. This is it. A very happy moment, a very satisfying moment in John Bowe's career as he takes out race 1 and his very first race win here at Mallala in South Australia. The local boy, Russell Ingall, in for second, and that was a great fight. Both guys would have loved that. JB puts the thumb up and says, how about that? They duked it out at Winton and had smiles from ear to ear after they were finished. They really enjoy good, tight, close racing. And that was a great one. There's Russell. Happy with his efforts. He tried so hard and almost got through on the inside, the northern hairpin, as John Bowe got sideways, locked it up a little. But wow, we talk about people being so consistent, and you talk about Bowe and Ingall and Glenn Seton for year after year after year. They're always there, they're always consistent. But that one there will hold a very special place for John Bowe, his first win at the Mallala circuit. He first raced here in 1989, so it's been a long time coming. Lowndes held on for 3rd, Perkins in for 4th, and Dick Johnson, after that little off, in for 5th. We go back to Stephen Johnson, another top 10 finish. Well done, Stephen. Seton, Scaife, Faulkner from 17th to 9th. That's a great effort. And Jason Bright. More after this break.